The issue often faced by most countries is poverty. Poverty is a critical issue that routinely becomes the focus of efforts every year with significant costs. The issue of poverty always receives attention from all parties so that economic prosperity can be enjoyed by the entire society. Poverty issues continue to evolve and change, even though many efforts and strategies have been implemented by various parties, showing some success. This situation is no exception in Islamic countries. In the context of Islamic economics, poverty is not only seen as a lack of material resources, but also as a social challenge requiring a holistic approach based on the principles of justice and balance.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and greetings to our IIP1010 lecturer Dr. Asma binti Abdul Rahman. InsyaAllah, today we will be presenting our assignment titled Poverty and its Solution According to Islamic Economics. Before that, I would like to introduce my group members. My name is Nur Inshirah binti Abdul Karim, and my metric number is 2300430.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hazirah Danisha binti Muhammad Zuhdi. My metric number is 2300407.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurdania Hazwani binti Muhammad Salimi, and my metric number is 2300318.
And my name is Ibdina Diheni binti Abdul Qadir Misi, and my ID number is 2300416.
So this video will discuss the definition of poverty, the types and causes of poverty, and also how to eradicate it according to the role of the individual and the country. We start with the definition of poverty. What is poverty? Poverty is a condition where a person does not have enough property, money, or income to meet the needs of life. For example, lack of food, clothing, shelter, and drinking water. These things are closely related to quality and survival. In modern society, poverty is usually equated with the problem of lack of money. Then, for the definition of poverty, according to the Islamic perspective, it contains two meanings. The first is material poverty, and the second is spiritual poverty. So, the first is material poverty. Material poverty refers to a situation where a person's basic needs are not fully met. Shariah has defined basic needs as food, clothing, and shelter. Therefore, any individual or household that lacks sufficient food or clothing and does not have a place to live is considered poor according to the Islam. Individuals in such condition are categorized as poor and needy. Meanwhile, spiritual poverty means a lack of weakness in a person's spiritual and inner aspects. It involves the absence of a strong relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, weakness of faith, lack of understanding of religious values, and forgetfulness of the purpose of life as a servant and caliph of Allah on earth. Next, let's look at examples of poverty mentioned in the Quran. Allah said in the Surah At-Tawbah verses 60,
إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين وفي سبيل الله وابن السبيل.
which means sadaqah is only for the poor, the needy, for those employed to collect it, for those whose hearts are attracted to the faith, for freeing slaves, for those in debt, for the cause of Allah, And lastly, for needy travelers, this verse indicates that the poor are those who do not have enough property or income to meet their basic needs, while the needy are those who have something but still not enough to meet their daily needs.
Did you all know that poverty is divided into two categories, namely absolute poverty and relative poverty? Absolute poverty is defined as a condition where an individual is unable to meet the basic needs required to enjoy a minimum standard of living. These basic needs include food, clothing, shelter, education, and healthcare. On the other hand, relative poverty refers to a situation where an individual or group is unable to meet the basic needs of life when compared to the living standards of the surrounding society. An example of relative poverty is when a person has an income much lower than the average income of the people around them, causing them to be unable to enjoy the same amenities or opportunities that others in the community consider normal. For instance, a person who lives in very modest condition and cannot access quality education or healthcare, even though they are not facing hunger or food shortages, may still be considered relatively poor in a more prosperous society. Now, I would like to talk about the factors of poverty. The first one is limited job opportunities. An abundance of labor from various skills level and qualifications in urban areas has resulted in shrinking job opportunities. Furthermore, the lack of employment opportunities, especially in cities, prevents many individuals from securing jobs that match their skills. This leads to an increase in unemployment and poverty rates. Second one is high cost of living. The high cost of living and basic necessities such as housing, food, clothing, education, and healthcare makes it difficult for low and middle income groups to bear and meet the expenses of daily life. The third one is urban housing, urban housing. The high cost of housing in urban areas make it unaffordable to purchase or rent for low-income residents. Low-cost housing options are also limited, often resulting in the creation of squatter settlement and urban poverty. Next is weaknesses in transportation. Do you guys know that system inefficient urban transportation systems can hinder city residents from accessing economic opportunities, facilities, and services? This increases household expenses due to high transportation costs. Improving transportation system can help reduce urban poverty and boost urban economic activities by enabling residents to participate in both formal and informal sectors. Next, physical environment. Unhealthy urban environments expose residents to various diseases, leading to increased healthcare and treatment expenses, which low-income groups often cannot afford. Enhancing the quality of the urban environment can directly help reduce urban poverty. Next is globalization. Individuals with financial resources who can access information and leverage it for economic, political, and social benefits gained from globalization. Meanwhile, those unable to do so are left behind. Globalization also compels governments, especially in developing countries, to restructure their economics to be more competitive and aligned with global trends, often reducing subsidies and privatizing services. This, in turn, reduces provision, particularly in education and healthcare, which negatively impacts the poor. Next, social and psychological barriers. Low levels of education are a result of barriers to accessing proper educational facilities. This perpetuates urban poverty as competitive markets demand individuals with higher education and skills. According to UNESCAP, children from poor families cannot afford adequate educational facilities compared to children from wealthier backgrounds. Many drop Many drop out of school yearly to help supplement family income. Hence, weaknesses in education are a significant factor in poverty. Other factors: rising prices of essential goods, especially food and vehicle fuel, reduce subsidies for education and healthcare facilities, and inflation further exacerbate urban poverty, as expenditures often exceed income. Other concern related to urban poverty is the increasing number of non-citizens or foreign migrants among the poor in Malaysia. In 1990, foreign nationals made up about 7.0%, which increased to 12.6% in 1995 and 70.5% in 1997. Most of them reside in urban areas due to better job opportunities, indirectly limiting job prospects and facilities for Malaysian citizens. Consequently, foreign workers contribute to the increase in local residents living in poverty and have raised the national poverty rate. Therefore, specific measures need to be taken to reduce the country's dependency on foreign labor.
In eradicating poverty, it is not solely the responsibility of the government to take action. The individuals also play a crucial role in helping to free themselves or others from the wave of poverty. Firstly, developing individual work ethics. Developing individual work ethics is one of the effective ways to eradicate poverty through the role of the people. Several steps that can be taken to achieve this goal include education and training. Providing education and training to individuals on the importance of discipline, responsibility, and commitment in work. Specialized skills training can also enhance individuals' competitiveness in the job market. And next, awareness of religious and moral values. Instilling religious and moral values such as honesty, trustworthiness, and diligence, which can shape good work ethics. In Islam, working diligently is considered an act of worship and a means to seek blessing. Islam strongly encourages its followers to continuously strive to improve their standard of living. The development of work ethics significantly aids individuals in enhancing their initiative to improve their quality of life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran in Surah Jumu'ah,
فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون.
The meaning of this ayah is that when the prayer is completed, disperse throughout the land and seek from the bounty of Allah, and remember Allah often in all circumstances so that you may succeed in this world and the hereafter. Furthermore, reinterpreting the theory of poverty. This reinterpretation of the theology of poverty refers to social change. Social change must begin with the individual transformation, involving methods of thinking, motivation, worldview, and other aspects. Previously, Muslims may have regarded the poverty they experience as merely a test from Allah SWT. However, they need to change their perspective on poverty, not viewing it solely as a test that must be accepted with resignation, but rather as a situation that requires effort to escape. This effort should be grounded in the belief in Allah's attributes as the most generous and the provider of sustenance. This is in line with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran.
إن الله هو الرزاق ذو القوة المتين.
The meaning of this ayah, indeed, Allah alone is the one who provides sustenance to all His creation, and He alone is the possessor of infinite power and the Almighty, firm in His authority. Last but not least, wealth redistribution from the wealth to the poor. This method is the last resort in combating urban poverty and is divided into three levels. namely first, mandatory level. This includes the obligation to provide necessary financial support to family members and to pay zakah at the societal level. Second, voluntary level. Islam encourages voluntary charities, which is sadaqah, which is considered an act of compassion rather than the sole push as often misunderstood by Islam's detractors. And the last one, mandatory level. For example, through the obligation of paying taxes. This level is not required if the precedent levels are sufficient, making it the final measure in efforts to combat urban poverty. In conclusion, efforts to eradicate poverty require close cooperation between the people and the government. Every individual plays a crucial role in ensuring social justice and a more equitable distribution of wealth. With the spirit of compassion, shared responsibility, and humanitarian values, we can build a society free from the shackles of poverty and achieve a more prosperous and harmonious life.
The role of the government in eradicating poverty. Various initiatives that can be taken by the government to address the problem of urban poverty. First, specialization and priority in the distribution of economic income. There are three distinct types of specialization that Islam possesses, namely specialization between the public and private sectors, specialization between the present and future generations, and specialization in the public sector. The government can use the public sector to implement economic projects that create job opportunities for the poor. In addition, the government is responsible for dividing the economy in a fair and appropriate way so that the problem of urban poverty can be solved and the economic benefits are not obtained by certain groups alone while ensuring the balance of each level of society. Second, practicing a priority economy. The government can use this method in specializing economic activities and the distribution of economic revenues to be in line with the requirements of Shariah. This can be implemented according to priorities based on the objective of Shariah, namely, first, maqasid at-daruriyat, things that are human needs and become the basis of life. For example, food, beverages, clothing, shelter, water supply, security, defense, and education. Second, maqasid al-hajiyat, a human necessity that make life go easily and smoothly. For example, the cost of public transport and connectivity is affordable and does not burden the urban poor. Third, maqasid at-tahsiniyat, side needs and complements that make human life neater and more comfortable. Priorities in economic management are essential to ensure that financial resources have sufficient amounts to meet human needs. Third, basic facilities. This development infrastructure consists of two types, namely external and internal. Internal infrastructure places greater emphasis on physical aspects such as housing facilities, water supply, and electricity. Further, external infrastructure is concerned with the acceptance of contemporary disciplines and knowledge and technologies as a source of development for obtaining medical care, education, transportation, communication, and security. The combination of these two types of infrastructure will provide basic facilities to form the development of urban communities. Fourth, the role of institutions. In Malaysia, there are various institutions that are directly and indirectly involved in poverty eradication, the welfare of the people in the responsibility of the ruler in Islam. The government must ensure that all the people meet sufficient basic needs. Among them are the Malaysian Islamic Economic Development Foundation, IIP, Baitul Mal, non-government organizations, Islamic banking institutions, and so on.
As a conclusion, the status of both the rich and the poor in society does not increase a person's honor, as Allah has explained that humans have been created in different positions. These differences are made to judge people regarding their piety. Therefore, Allah commands the wealthy to use their wealth as a means to help the poor, especially among close and distant family members. From the Islamic perspective on economics, we can see that Islam greatly cares for the welfare of Muslims by making it obligatory for every Muslim to pay zakat.